While we're waiting for Mohammed, perhaps we can tee this up with an introductory video. During this session, we're going to use the traveler journey, which is a tourism philosophy, to explain everything that the panelists here go through in their own journeys as tourists. So perhaps while we're waiting for Mohammed, could we play the video and we can use this as our source of inspiration? Thank you so much.
Introducing Dubai. Potential traveler. Introducing Dubai. The Traveler Journey. Dubai's story is one of progress and success. To continue the story, we need every single person who visits Dubai and is a guest in our city to leave with a memorable experience of their time here. As someone who interacts with travelers each day, it's up to you to make every point in their journey exceptional through your customer service excellence. In this lesson, we look at the 7 touchpoints in the traveler journey and your role in providing a great experience.
Let's start by understanding what the 7 touchpoints in the traveler journey are. They are aware, plan, book, arrive, stay, depart, and post-stay.
In the first 3 touchpoints, aware, plan, and book, travelers find out about Dubai as a possible travel destination.
They learn more about our city and form expectations about the level of luxury, security, service, entertainment, and leisure that we have to offer. Then, they decide to travel to Dubai and start making bookings and other arrangements. Our innovation, easy booking systems, and reputation for excellent service make sure that the traveler's first impression of Dubai is positive. The 4th touchpoint is arrive. This important touchpoint is where travelers first see whether their expectations are met. It is important to make sure that the traveler is impressed from the moment they touch down at one of Dubai's airports or arrive at one of our land borders. Whether you are an immigration officer, a customs official, a baggage handler, a sales assistant, or an information clerk, you play a very important role in this touchpoint. It's up to you to make sure that every traveler is truly welcome as a guest in our city and their expectations are not only met, but exceeded. The 5th touchpoint, stay, is the peak of the journey. This is when travelers experience all that Dubai has to offer. From accommodation to culture and leisure activities, entertainment and relaxation, through to shopping and business engagements. You have the chance, during every interaction you have with the traveler, to make sure that their stay is exceptional and memorable. The 6th touchpoint, depart, is the end of the traveler's stay in our city. This is where it's up to you to make a positive and lasting impression. Your service, helpfulness, and professionalism is what will make the traveler leave with a desire to return to Dubai. The 7th and final touchpoint in the traveler journey is post-stay. When travelers get home, they share their experiences with their family, friends, and others. These shared experiences on social media reach huge number of potential travelers very quickly. These potential travelers then form their own opinion of Dubai. So, as you can see, it's very important to create positive memories for the traveler, memories that make them excited to share these Dubai moments with others.
Think about the traveler journey as a circle. Potential travelers find out about Dubai as a destination from other travelers who have already been there. They then book their trip, travel to, and experience Dubai. When they get home, they share their experiences. And so, The last touch point in one traveler journey becomes the first touch point in a new traveler journey. When you interact with travelers, remember that every touch point is an important chance to make the traveler journey a success. You have the power to make every traveler's experience a positive one. And in this way, you add to Dubai's success, both today and in the future.
So here in Dubai, we use the traveler journey as our inspiration for all of the travel marketing that we do. And I think we have Vanessa with us, who's traveled in from the USA, and all of our other panelists are residents here in Dubai. So much of your travel is perhaps outbound, traveling on your own, traveling with your families, and then traveling back into Dubai. So we're going to spend this session really becoming informed about your own journeys, your own traveler journeys, how you go through the awareness process, how you go through the booking process, how you then depart and travel, stay somewhere, and then fly back into Dubai or to fly home. Thank you for joining us, Mohammed. I think Vanessa will. Okay? Great, welcome. So, perhaps, Vanessa, if I could start with you.
Yes.
You have come into Dubai. You are the traveler who's come to visit us. But perhaps when we think about the awareness phase, how much did you know about Dubai before traveling to see us this week? What's your awareness of the city?
Thank you. I actually grew up here. So I lived in Dubai in the 90s and the early 2000s, but I know that Dubai is constantly changing. So I was not as aware of what to expect in terms of the improvements of the accessibility of the city. So I did do some due diligence and do some research on Google and used social media to see other people and how they were navigating in wheelchairs.
Great. But essentially the platforms that you're using to gain awareness of the destination would be what we refer to as mainstream platforms. Would that be correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. Then I want to come to Jessica and Fatma. Fatma, if I could start with you. When you think about traveling and you are researching destinations and you know you have to get somewhere, can you tell us a bit how you are planning, how you're gaining awareness of a destination, what tools you're using, what things are you using to help you in your own travels?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm delighted to be here. First of all, with an awesome collective. I would say when you travel with a disability, at least for myself personally, there's a lot that goes through in the awareness stage. You have to plan and plan and plan, and you have to have a backup plan for your backup plan. So usually when I travel, there's a component of, first of all, checking the information on about the country in general, the accessibility level, and then working on making sure that when I book like a ticket, that everything is communicated to the airline. As a power wheelchair user and as a feeding tube user, I have a lot of equipment that comes with me. So that would be my priority number one. My assistive technologies, checking that they're right in place and they're there for me. But um, making sure that the information is there and accessible is the first thing I would think about. Um, one last thing that I want to mention in this point. We often have an assumption that traveling is a luxury when you're with a person of when you're a person of determination. But in reality, traveling is a right. It's a right that connects you to the entire world, and that gives you a chance to amplify your voice and amplify your lived experience. So instead of looking at traveling as a luxury or as a component of add-on plus, I would urge you to look at it as something that essential for a person with a disability, especially an advocate like me and Jessica and the team.
Amazing, thank you. You brought a huge amount of issues. I noted down the need to check and check and check and check, the importance of communication and being able to communicate with service providers and knowing that you can communicate with them, and also the importance, the vital importance of your equipment and the safety and transit of your equipment as a reassurance for you to be able to travel. Jess, I want to turn to you. I know you often travel as a family, so you have to navigate not just traveling solo, but sometimes traveling in numbers. When you think about awareness, when you think about planning, before you've even navigated the airport, what kind of things are important to you? How do you go about that planning phase?
Yes, well, to Fatma's point, it's about being able to have the information available, but making sure that that information itself is accessible. So ensuring that all the stakeholders are sharing as much information about accessibility on their websites, on their apps, on social media, so that people like us who are traveling and who do have additional needs or who need those accessibility services, we know that it's available and we know where to look for it. And so never underestimate the importance and the power of that initial information, but making sure that it is accessible and making sure that it's very forward and front facing. I think we're having the discussion recently that, you know, a lot of information might be there, but people don't know where to find it. They have to, and for people of determination, people who live with disability, I feel that that's very much part of our story. We're constantly having to try to find the information that we need, when if it was itself made accessible, that would eliminate a lot of the stress and the barriers that we face before we even consider the travel journey.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Often it's page 3, 4, 5, 6 of a website if it's not the footnote, and I think that's a huge part that has to change. Reem, I know you're traveling as a mum. Tell us about the kind of information that you need. What's important to you, and how do you find that information before you travel?
أول شيء السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أنا اسمي ريم. أنا أم لشاب الحين عمره 16 سنة من فئة التوحد. سؤال الأستاذ جدا جميل. أول شيء طبعا أشكر استضافة إكسبو لي أنا كأم. اللي أبغي أقوله لكم أن أنا أم يعني مش مخلصة دراستي، أنا فقط عندي ثانوية عامة، بس هذا الشيء ما خلاني أوقف. بالنسبة لي أني أسافر مع توحد، مثل ما أنتم تعرفون التوحد يسمع أضعاف الشخص اللي ما عنده توحد. فأول شيء سويته هو أني دربت عبد الله ولدي على أنه أول شيء يقعد على الكرسي لأطول فترة ممكنة، وبعدين دربت عبد الله على تحمل الأصوات. كيف دربت على تحمل الأصوات؟ إني بديت أول شيء بالسشوار، وبعدين بالمكنسة، الله يعزكم، المكنسة الكهربائية، وبعدين تطرقنا إلى أصوات ثانية عالية كذي علشان الولد يتحمل. وهذا طبعا البروسس ياخذ مني وقت كبير. وبعدين تدربنا على الوقوف في اللاين. نحن ساكنين في منطقة قريب عندنا ستاربكس، وهذا الكوفي شوب كان من أكثر الكوفي شوبس اللي فيه انتظار لاينز طويلة. فكنت أوقف مع عبد الله ولديه، ومعاي طبعا العلبة اللي فيها المعزز، وأعززه لأنه هو واقف معاي. فلما يصير قدامي شخصين أو ثلاثة أرجع خلاص نروح للبيت. هذا فقط تدريب للانتظار على الطوابير. فلما يعني هذا الموضوع كله أخذ مني وقت كثير وطويل يعني، بس إنه في الأخير قمنا كتجربة. طبعا أنا أقول هذا الشيء وأنا يعني ما أقصد شيء، بس إنه كمثال يعني للأهالي. كنت أخذ تذكرة من أبو ظبي لعمان وأرجع، أخذ تذكرة لعمان وأرجع. هذا كان في الويكند علشان أدرب عبد الله ولدي على الطيارة والانتظار. ففجأة اكتشفت أن عبد الله ما يخاف من الطيارة كثر ما يخاف من اللي هو الفلاش مال التويلت اللي في الحمام. فاللي صار أني اخترعت طريقة اللي هو أنه يدخل عبد الله يخلص الحمام، الله يعزكم، وبعدين لما يطلع أنا أجر الفلاش، عشان لو جريت الفلاش وعبد الله في الحمام بيخاف فما بيروح ثاني مرة للحمام. فعندي طبعاً طريقتين للألعاب. في طريقة للألعاب أستخدمها في الطرق الطويلة اللي هي عن طريق البر في السيارة، اللي فيها أصوات وإخوانه بيتحملون وأبو بيتحمل. بس الألعاب اللي أستخدمها في الطيارة اللي هي بدون أصوات وفيها حماية زيادة عن اللزوم عشان الناس، يعني فلنفرض أن عبد الله رمى الشيء عشان ما يعور الناس. فهذا هو كان طريقة تدريبي لعبد الله. مثل ما أنتم تعرفون، لله الفضل ولله المنة والحمد والشكر. هني في الإمارات نحن عندنا بطاقة اسمها بطاقة أصحاب الهمم، تساعدنا وتختصر علينا أوقات كثيرة. لكن أنا إذا بستخدمها دائما فكيف بدرب عبد الله؟ وإذا أنا بستخدم بطاقة أصحاب الهمم في الإمارات، طيب إذا سافرت برا شو ممكن يكون؟ فالموضوع هو الحمد لله رب العالمين نحن في الإمارات، والحمد لله أن نحن عندنا بطايق مثل هذا. بس المفروض والواجب أن نحن كأهل وكأسر ندرب أولادنا على أنهم يعني يستمتعون ونحن نستمتع معاهم في الطيارات وفي الرحلات. أتمنى أكون جاوبتك.
Wow. Congratulations for everything you've done to help your son to travel, and all of the training that you've put in place to help him travel comfortably through the airport and on the airline. It's remarkable. I don't know if everybody had the translation on, but Reem is using all sorts of tools at home, from hair dryers to vacuum cleaners, to try to normalize the travel experience for Abdullah from all of the noises that he might hear on the aeroplane, and simulating them at home by using things like hair dryers and vacuum cleaners, and also making him stand in the line at Starbucks over and over and over again to normalize queuing and the process of queuing, which unfortunately you have to go through when you travel outside of Dubai. Mohammed, I want to come to you if that's okay, and maybe Jess can share the microphone. You have one there? Yeah. When you think of traveling overseas, when you think of traveling outside of Dubai, what kind of planning do you have to go through to think about what that travel experience might be like? And do you have any special tools that you use to plan that?
Good morning. Excuse me, I speak in Arabic. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بالنسبة لي سؤالك سيدي الكريم حول خطتي للسفر خارج دبي. عادة أنا أستخدم التطبيقات المتاحة، بداية من اختياري للبلد الذي راح أسافر إليه. لا أشترط أن يكون السفر لدولة معينة أن يحمل كل معايير الوصول الشامل لأصحاب الهمم. حتى لو ما كان، ولكن لا أحرم نفسي من السفر. عادة أنا أحب السفر بمفردي أو أحيانا معاي زوجتي. زوجتي من أصحاب الهمم الإعاقة البصرية. إذا كانت معاي نوعا ما أحرص على وجود يعني الحد الممكن من توفر الخدمات. بداية أنا أستخدم يعني الكمبيوتر في الدخول على المواقع والسؤال عنها، ثم أتواصل مع مكاتب السياحة الموجودة، أرى ما هي الحزم التي ممكن تناسبني. أنا لي متطلبات خاصة، أطلب سيارة خاصة بي، فأحيانا يكون هذا يعني زيادة على البجت، ولكن لا مشكلة. أيضا أقوم بعملية البحث من خلال تقييم الأصدقاء. أنا نشط على السوشيال ميديا، فأيضا من خلال السوشيال ميديا أعرف الأماكن المناسبة. الآن أصبح وجود الذكاء الاصطناعي يساعد أكثر، من خلال أن أنا أعمل خطة متكاملة من خلال السؤال. مثلا الشات جي بي تي ممكن أطلب منه أن يعد لي خطة لدولة خلينا نقول تتوفر فيها خدمات أصحاب الهمم. ولكن عادة أنا لا يعني أرجع لنقطة البداية، لا يعني أركز على مدى إمكانية الوصول في هذه البلد. طبعا أحرص في هنا في الإمارات أني أنا أختار الطيران المناسب الذي من خلاله أستطيع الوصول لوجهتي. طبعا يكون ذلك من خلال أول شيء استقبالي في المطار. فهذه فرصة جميلة أن احنا نشكر مطارات دبي على مدى تقديمهم خدمات لأصحاب الهمم. هذه حقيقة وليست مجاملة لهم. عندما أصل للمطار وأجد الموظفين على استعداد في التعامل في طريقة توصيل المعلومة، أحيانا أنا لا أحتاج لخدمات يعني إضافية أو تطبيقات إضافية. من ضمن يعني الأشياء اللي أنا أحرص أن يكون معاي في السفر العصا البيضاء، هذه ضرورية. أحرص على تحميل التطبيقات المناسبة لهذه الدول في المواصلات أو في الفنادق والحجوزات. مؤخرا بدأت أستعين بنظارة ذكية. هذه النظارة تساعدني أني أنا أقوم بتصوير ما يوجد أمامي والتعرف عليه، وأيضا إذا كنت في حالة أحتاج للمساعدة، هذه النظارة أيضا فيها تطبيق مربوط بتطبيق معروف وهو بي ماي آي. فعن طريق النظارة أقوم بالاتصال بأي متطوع وأطلب منه المساعدة. هذا بشكل عام. شكرا لكم.
Wow. So there was a huge compliment for Dubai Airports there, who I think they are doing a phenomenal job. And for those, I hope no one missed it, but the earlier presentation on the future airport was a massive insight for all of us. We are living through remarkable times. We are in a city that's building such an amazing airport and is being informed, I think, by nearly everyone sitting here. So we will have in a few years' time a really remarkable airport. Also was mentioned was the Be My Eyes application, which I know Mohammed has mentioned that he is using with the goggles, using the AI, and I think this ties in nicely to some of the features that we will see in the new airport. I want to move, if I can, into the stay phase. So we talked a little bit about the awareness phase and the planning phase, and you were kind enough to tell us about everything you're doing to prepare for that journey by using the vacuum cleaner and the Hoover and everything. But I want you to think now about the stay phase. And Vanessa, I'm going to come back to you. I know you are coming in here and now staying as a tourist here in Dubai. So I'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about your experience of the stay phase. How is it to be here? How is it to navigate the city? Be honest with us, be frank with us. You're a tourist here, so tell us about your stay phase here in Dubai before I ask the others some questions about traveling outbound.
Sure, I can get more into it in depth in my speech because I definitely included it in there. But it's really important for me to be able to get to a number of places, to meet with people, to go out with family. So accessibility transport has been key, but it's been important for me to find accessibility transport that can fit me with the wheelchair. And the height has been an issue for some of those vehicles. In terms of getting around, it's wonderful. There's so many places here that obviously are paved, and cutouts are important, but I have experienced some areas with new construction that require me to drive into the road, into oncoming traffic in order to get in and out of some of those places, which can be very scary for those of us that have lived through some PTSD. So I think there's still more work to do, and I'd love to get more into that in my speech, but we've made major headway from being a desert town to being this futuristic, where we're headed.
Great, thank you. And we'll come back to your overview. Fatma, if I may, when you think of some of the places you've traveled to and you've stayed there, perhaps the good, perhaps the not so good, but can you give us some examples of perhaps destinations that are doing it well, places where you've stayed that have been very comfortable and have met your needs? Tell us a little bit more about those.
If I talk about the places that I've been, for me personally, the key is anticipating the person's needs, anticipating their needs, and making sure that it's not an element of only welcoming the person, but it goes beyond that. It's about creating a sense of belonging and an environment that is designed for you. Personally, one of the two places that I'll talk about is one is Amsterdam. It's not only the airport experience, how it was smooth and as someone who's coming into the city, but also the activities and the accessible tourism aspect of it was very, very inclusive, because I didn't need to search about accessible activities. There were just a component that built in within the city. So anywhere I would go to, there's an element of, do you have access needs, whether it's hidden or obvious, but it's built in within the culture. And that's what I want to see for my own city, for Dubai, and for the region in general. Another example would be Cape Town, because I even paraglided in Cape Town, and it wasn't like I needed to let the company or the leisure activity coordinator know. It's just something that it was already there, and it was already accessible. So I would urge you, as from the tourism industry, from everyone who's working from an airport standpoint, to think about ways to incorporate accessibility from the beginning and not as an afterthought. And it's one of the key things that I think Dubai airports is doing right. As one of the advisors with Jessica, we're working together as and utilizing not only our lived experience but utilizing all of the tools that we have to make sure that the future is accessible and we create a sense of belonging in Dubai, inshallah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So paragliding in Cape Town and normal events, everything in Amsterdam. That was your tips. Okay. Reem, when you travel with Abdullah, which cities, which places have been great for you? Which ones have you enjoyed the most and why?
أول شيء شكراً وايد على هالسؤال. أنا بس أبغى حد يسألني هذا السؤال. أول شيء كيف أحضر عبد الله إنه يروح لهذا البلد؟ هذا أهم شيء عندي. أحضر عبد الله إنه يروح مثل ما أنا وأنت اللي موجودين من حقهم إنهم هم يدخلون مثلاً أبليكيشن مثلاً بوكينج ويشوف الفندق ويشوف شو جنبه ويشوف شو وراه وكذي. بعد من حق عبد الله إنه يعرف هو وين رايح، ومن حق عبد الله يشوف الغرفة اللي بيسكن فيها، ومن حق عبد الله يعرف شو اللي بنسوي، شو الأكتيفيتي اللي هو بيسويها يمكن هو ما يحبها. ففي تحضير للبلد أصلاً اللي نحن بنروح لها بإذن الله، يعني نحن في تحضير. هذا واحد. اثنين، من البلدان أنا ما سافرت كثير يعني علشان أحكم على البلدان، بس أقول لك من البلدان اللي فعلاً أنا ارتحت فيها. رقم واحد في التوحد سنغافورة. كان الأويرنس عندهم. أنا رحت يعني في يوم التوحد العالمي رحت بالعمالة أبغى أشوف هم شو ياسين يسوون. العالم كلها يعرفون توحد، كل هالعالم. شو ما كان عندك ولد موجود في الشارع في المول، ما في حد يطالعهم، ما في حد يعني. نحن كثير يعني كأهالي أصحاب همم فئة التوحد نحن كثير يعني نعاني من شوي من نظرات المجتمع إلنا، يعني أن كيف ولدك عمره مثلاً 30 سنة وستيل يسوي تانترومينج يعني هالأمور. بس اللي حلو في سنغافورة أنهم كلهم عندهم الأوير جداً عالي، توعية جداً عالية. هذا بالنسبة لي التوحد كأوير. بالنسبة للتعامل مع أصحاب الهمم، اليابان أنا بالنسبة لي يعني الصراحة من البلدان اللي حسيت أني أنا بكون مرتاحة فيها، حتى أنه بإذن الله إن شاء الله يا ربي والفال إن شاء الله للجميع أن عبد الله إذا تخرج إن شاء الله بيروح كلية أو جامعة في اليابان إن شاء الله. مش يعني لأنهم قادرين يدمجون وقادرين يتقبلون هذيل الأولاد. فرحت المدارس وشفت طريقة الدمج عندهم وتعرفت على الناس اللي موجودين وشفتهم كيف هم في القطارات. ففي سلاسة جدا عالية. فاللي المفروض يصير هو أن نحن ناخذ أفضل الممارسات من الدول اللي برا ونطبقها عنا علشان فعلا يصير الموضوع اسمه دمج. وشكرا لك.
So more top tips from Reem. Reem was fortunate enough to travel to Singapore for World Autism Day and talks highly about the attitude and the culture of the population towards Abdullah and the integration of Abdullah, but also talks very highly of Japan and how smooth the transportation was, how polite everyone was, again, how the culture was welcoming, and how you would dream for Abdullah to go to university in Japan. Interestingly, we just had a delegation of Japanese here in Dubai, and they said exactly the same thing about us. So hopefully we take the best of Singapore and the best of Japan, and we have that here, just as is Fatma's wish as well. Jessica, I'll come to you if I can. When you think of traveling again with the family, is there anyone who's done it exceptionally well, who's anticipated the needs, who's been a great advocate of everything that you're trying to achieve? Think of anything any player you've been to?
Yes, well, I often travel with my husband and my 3 younger children, and so that in itself, can be overwhelming and stressful.
Yeah.
And certainly, my accessibility needs are different from everybody else's needs on this stage. I don't necessarily need the same level of assistance, but there are moments throughout all of those touch points, especially traveling through an airport, where I might need assistance. And so, for me, I can genuinely say that Dubai airports is one of the best that I've experienced for the needs that I have, for the assistance that I often require. But I think what's important to mention here is that we have to go beyond compliance and we have to go beyond the technology and the infrastructure. What I've learned listening to everyone say and share their stories on stage already is it's the people, it's the level of awareness, it's the level of understanding. And so we can have the most inclusive, accessible place, and we can have digital spaces that are also accessible. But if all of us aren't invested in the importance of prioritizing accessibility for people of determination and people who live with disability, then none of those things really matter. We can access a facility, we can access the information online. What we want is that sense of belonging, that sense of genuine safety, knowing that our voices are being heard, and which they are. And I'm very, very honoured and privileged to be an advisor for Dubai Airports, because not only are we using our voices, but we're bringing the community together to be able to share their voices. And that's what matters. And so for me, yes, I can say that there's experiences in Australia, and I've had the opportunity to travel all around the world as an athlete. And for me, I definitely believe that Dubai Airports is leading the way. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I think that it has been noted, and hence why we're able to create this event and bring everyone together to say, well, how are we going to make that happen? And it is through the lived experiences and those shared experiences that we're able to have deeper insights into what it actually means. We can't have us versus them, and we can't have other people share those experiences for us. And so I think that we're setting a precedent here and having those voices at the table, but knowing that our voices are not only being heard, but they're being listened to. And so I think that what we will see in the future with that collaboration and with that extension from the airports through to Dubai tourism and the destinations and where people stay is a city that is genuinely able to lead, but it falls on the responsibility of all of us to make sure that that actually happens.
Well said, absolutely. People and culture above all. Well said. Vanessa, I know you had some information that you wanted to share with us through your speech.
Yes.
Yeah? You want to tell us a little bit more?
Is it time to read it?
Sure, go for it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me okay? All right, great. I have a tendency to sometimes be a little loud. I want to start with the story, and I promise that the story has a good ending. But when I landed here last week, my chair was returned to me damaged, and it was damaged during the flight. When I got back into my wheelchair, it barely functioned. Slowly, I made it out of the airport into the heat to the taxi, but my wheelchair wouldn't lower, so I couldn't fit. It was late, I had no phone service, it was hot, and my spinal cord injury left me unable to control my temperature. And I knew that I was in real danger. I thought, what an irony, right? I came to a tourism conference for the disabled, and my wheelchair gets disabled. I could only laugh. I also cried. Eventually, as we do with a disability, I adapted, figured it out, overcame, and I made it home to my father's house. My instinct wondered, is this a sign? What am I doing here in Dubai? Why have I put myself in danger? Isn't life difficult enough? The next day, a young repair technician named Azan from Falcon Mobility here in Dubai, a new company, showed me the true spirit of Dubai. He answered my call with compassion. I heard in his voice that he cared. He asked me questions and calmed my shattered nerves with a promise. I will fix your chair. I will find a way at no cost to you. And look, I'm here. He fixed my chair. He's at the conference today, no, not in his room right now, representing Falcon Mobility, and he had no idea that I was going to mention him. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you all for being here in this room and for listening. I'm honored to be a part of this year's conference, made possible by His Excellency Sheikh Ahmed, and I'm grateful to share the stage with you. My name is Vanessa Hamdi Osman. I'm an actress, a voiceover artist, and an accessibility advocate. More than that, I'm a daughter of Dubai. 22 years ago, a car accident not far from here left me paralyzed. I broke my neck. My life changed that instant, but the truth is that at that same instant, the entire world changed around me. Suddenly, I was surrounded by obstacles. I was prevented from going where I could once go without thinking about it. Taxis and transit systems ultimately became inaccessible. Curbs with no ramps, beaches I could not access, and that is my love in Dubai. Water I could no longer touch. There was an unclear but spoken message from the world: Vanessa Osman, you no longer belong. This was incomprehensible to me because I was still the same person. I seek to enjoy life, to find a meaningful world, to travel from one place to another, to be with friends and family here in Dubai. But now at every step, the world said, stop. Things are changing. But still, many sidewalks are inaccessible. The other night, I had to drive along the road I mentioned into the oncoming traffic. For a population of nearly 4 million, there are only 28 public taxis for people like me. Yesterday, I waited 4 hours for one to pick me up from here. And countless day-to-day obstacles still face us that keep soul and body stuck. So we have a lot of work to do. I learned something from my father, Hamdi Osman. He says, the sky is not your limit. Your mind is your limit. From my chair, I have forged a career as a disabled person to be able to speak to you today as a voiceover artist, an actor and speaker, and accessibility product representative. I've had the privilege of working with companies like Google, Red Bull, HBO, Sony to promote inclusive storytelling. I've also worked with developers of life-changing products, like this water I'm drinking from Giraffe Products, robotic arms, eye tracking software, and a life-saving sling called DAPS that I can show you later on if you come and see me in the expo hall. I want products like Freedom Flow and Adapts and Giraffe bottles to be purchased by the local government and gifted to those in need. No more asking for help every time we must go to the bathroom or we need a drink of water. As a state of mind, Dubai will be gifting dignity and independence. I want these products to be cheaply available to those who cannot use their hands like me. No need to ask for help. Let us make this mission to expand our state of mind and make Dubai inclusive by design. Imagine what happens when we bring this degree of love and these life-changing products to an entire city, priding themselves on innovation. This is not a critique, this is medicine. Dubai's growth and resilience depends on identifying the weaknesses and making them stronger. Outshining competitors depends on recognizing and financing the people and enterprises that work while pointing out and fixing the ones that don't. The global accessibility market is worth not just $1 trillion, but multiple trillions. I've read that up to $18 trillion of disposable income is out there. People with disabilities and their families want to travel, and they want to travel to Dubai. They want to spend money, but only if they feel welcome. Inclusion is not just a courtesy, it's smart business. This is how we open Dubai's arms wider to embrace the 5 million disabled tourists we miss every year. 5 million people plus their families, their colleagues, their loved ones. I don't want to just build ramps here. I want Dubai to build a bridge over its obstacles. I don't want to just build elevators and big elevators. I want the sons and daughters of Dubai to raise our quality of life. I don't want just automatic doors. I want Dubai to open the doors to the future. Access is important, but it is not the source of Dubai's appeal. The source is belonging. The source is love. I belong here in Dubai. I want to keep feeling like I belong. And what my father meant as the expansion of the mind is not just about my mind, but it's about your mind and the policymakers of Dubai. Your minds envisioning our city, your minds directing our transportation, your minds leading our business. People like me and Azam are behind you to capture the hearts and wallets of a huge population like me, accustomed to being left behind. You have the power to decide who is left out and who is welcome home. Home. I feel like I'm at home. Thank you.
Jessica, I'm sure you had no idea you were going to tee that up, but you said exactly people, culture, belonging, and Vanessa, you delivered that spectacularly, that call for home and everything that's still ahead of us. You reminded us as well that we have a long, long way to go because waiting for a taxi for that long is frankly unacceptable. So we have a long, long way to go. I want to say a huge thank you to all of our panelists, to Reem and everything you're doing to help Abdullah travel the world, to Fatma. Congratulations again for your role with Dubai Airports and everything you're doing. Jessica, thank you for joining us. Vanessa, thanks for rallying cry. Mohammed, thanks for everything that you do to tell us your stories about traveling with you and your amazing wife, using AI, using goggles, continuing to share your stories on social media. Thank you to our amazing panelists.